This is Signal and Noise, bringing clarity to data, tech, and AI.
Illinois, coming to you from Possible 2026 in Miami on day 2, and I've got Adam Heimlich, who's joining Signal Illinois for the second time, CEO of Chalice AI. One thing that we talked about, for those that haven't seen the podcast with Adam, with Rhea and I, it's certainly worth watching. I think we probably went over an hour, probably an hour and 10. It was a really good technical and interesting conversation. And I think one of the things that we started with, which I think would be good for those that haven't seen the podcast, was your background. I mean, you came from an agency background. You were heavily involved in programmatic. You got sufficiently technical. You talked about how you got technical. You would learn how to build and make some of these products. And then you decided to go independent and form your own company. What was sort of that journey like, and what made you bring Chalice to life with your wife?
Yeah. What Allie Manning, which is my wife and co-founder, and I both realized by 2019 was that the machine learning, predictive modeling that was offered by platforms, as powerful as it was, just wasn't a good fit for big brands. Like, the things they're trying to do are not clicks and completes. They're trying to drive lifetime value and incremental conversions. And they're trying to steal market share. And those signals are not what's being modeled to. It's not what's predicted.
Yeah, there's a short-termism. Right, in sort of digital media.
They're like a flattening. I think now that people are seeing a lot of AI outputs, right, that people call it slop, people are now realizing that average outputs, right, things based on data pools have average output. Creative and a differentiated strategy, your media buying shouldn't be this sort of flat output, like whoever clicks on it or whoever gives us an attributed sound.
It sounds like it's kind of a reach play. It's like the reach dilemma. Like, we want to reach as many people as possible. It seems infinite with digital media. But I think what we're realizing is it may not be, it's much more finite. A
conundrum is that reach media does better. Like, YouTube does well because of its reach, and TV and billboards do well because of the reach. Because in a broadcast medium, at least you reach everybody. Whereas if the modeling is wrong, it's actually an autopilot that's steering you away from reach and usually into your own customer base. So we see that over and over.
Yeah, where you're targeting, you're not targeting like sort of the movable middles. You're targeting, right, people that are already customers. Or in digital media, oftentimes your reach might be just slightly fabricated.
That's right.
Right?
Because no one knows, right? They don't have the global reach anyway.
Yeah, it's MFAs, it's inventory, it's IVTs, it's inventory that's not really worth its grain in salt. And so you get this sort of infinite view. We talk to Dr. Fu all the time. He's on the show. And you get this sort of infinite view of reach. And he's saying that it's actually finite. And so one of the conclusions that we came up with our podcast was, to your point about like linear television, like some of this traditional linear reach media is actually proven to, like, the model seems pretty solid by comparison.
At least it's not an autopilot sending you away from where you're going. So that was the core problem. And, we're in year 7 of telling people, like, we could use your own data and model to exactly what you're trying to do and deploy that in programmatic and do things in walled gardens. And
it's about leveraging more of the brand's data, or are you actually combining that with the supply side as well, or is it just purely brand?
It's best data available. So sometimes brands have their own data. In finance, they always have a lot of data, but in CPG, they usually don't. So it's about going out to the panel marketplace. What I wanted to say is that it's only now, 2026, where there's so much pressure to adopt AI, and there's so much more knowledge about automation and AI slop, that our message is really resonating. And we're saying, this is how AI hits brands. It's about using your own data to have an automated version of what you're actually trying to do. That's what agent means. It means it's doing what you want it to do. And a lot of people have this experience of AI as something that you're opted into, that's taking control away from you. And finally, after, here in our 7th year, we're saying you don't have to go that way. And finally, brands are saying, now I see my choice. It's either get opted in, or I dig into this AI thing and find out what my model looks like.
And do you think that model, and we should talk about your containerized sort of model solution, which is relatively different than most DSPs out there, and that's sort of the kind of the core competency, the value prop that's sort of a unique selling proposition for Chalice. Tell us a little bit about that. But do you think that data, when you talk about leveraging their data, does AI give brands and the sell side as well, publishers, the ability to maximize a greater amount of data to be more effective in terms of the behavioral and intent and engagement signals that they're leveraging during the process?
Absolutely. We talk to publishers every day. As much as I can, we talk to the sell side. And we think that the the brand specific models that we're doing are going to be good for publishers. Like we see that the platform way of doing things, right? Everything based on the ID, ignoring the page, ignoring the quality and content of that page, has harmed publishers, right? And advertisers who care about
it's publishers' inability to pass all of their data. That they're sitting on sort of a treasure trove of audience engagement back to the DSPs because it creates bandwidth issues and it costs a lot of money to manage that much.
Basically a narrow pipe. The DSPs were built 10 years ago for the most part, and their pipe isn't broad enough to carry every URL and the quality and content of the page.
So they miss signal from the audiences that they're trying to target.
And the fiction is the signal isn't important, and maybe it's not if you don't care about quality or content. But
how about
most brands do.
We're still just as consumers, we're still getting kind of shitty advertising, right? Where you're like,
how about just learning what your customers, even if you optimize to clicks, like you want to know exactly where those clicks are coming from, what the pages have in common,
and what kind of predictive steps led to that outcome, so that you can find more people like that. It's not just your classic lookalike modeling, but it's audience clarity, right? And clear definition and the ability to leverage the data to kind of do the promise that's been there for a long time, like the one-to-one, the real time. And it just never seems to have worked, at least from a consumer perspective. And I think we've seen it in the industry.
We've got it working now. So we have the case studies. The containerized deployment is a way to bring an entire model of the content and quality of the open web into decisioning. That lives in an SSP server. Index Exchange was the first to host it, but now it's a standard called the ARTF, the Agentic Real-Time Framework. It's been adopted by OpenX.
Still lives in this SSP set.
The Assert compute environment. And the Chalice model of the open web is living and containerized inside this environment, responding in a millisecond. So it solves a whole bunch of technical problems of expense, and that narrow pipe problem is completely solved. We have access to the full bid stream.
So that when you stir the ad, you're actually taking full advantage of that.
All the data that's available and upstream, close to the publisher, where there's 250 billion bid requests a day, right? So instead of it being narrowed, we're picking out of that whole stream by page with a lot of knowledge of what's on these pages and how well it scores for the brand, and being able to share this information back. The results are incredible. That's what I'm here at Possible to say. We're seeing savings up to 70%, with results even better. We're getting a steady stream of learning on how to slice things like news to be on the news that's valuable to you.
Which being on the news that's the critical panel. Luke Pascal talks about that all the time, how news was so ignored because of just polarizing topics, and people are sort of, it's chiseled because the audience is so valuable.
We're taking a scalpel to news. Online video is another great place to take a scalpel. Scalpel, like there's thousands and thousands of sites that show 2 videos at once. Horrible experience, but it passes the viewability and size thresholds of the platform. So being able to filter out the real quality video, it turns out it doesn't even cost more. So that's why we see.
And the real quality video is on the device that you want it to be on. So if you're targeting,
playing alone,
if you're targeting CTV, you want it to be on the television glass.
Before real content, that's a big one. Is it before real content, or is it just playing in a banner? We could slice all that and find that the best video is not more expensive. So brands are getting price cuts as they get better results on their video campaign. And we're excited to show people.
But there's a trend where people say, I'm going to buy, we'll just use CTV as a video example, where people there's kind of a race at the bottom. They're buying cheap inventory thinking it's CTV, but it's actually just almost like fabricated impressions that are being shown across devices, across domains that are being spoofed. So that leads me to this question: is that there is a lot of talk. We talked to Permutive the other day, Joe Root, who you probably know, and great guy, super funny, super smart, lives in New York City, right? An Englishman, and he was talking a lot about this sort of future of, and I wanted to, you guys as a DSP, kind of a newly defined or differently defined DSP, I think. Right, because you kind of live on that SSP side, and you're leveraging both sides of the data ecosystem.
We encourage people to think about it as modularity. Chalice is a modular optimization tech. It could live in a DSP, it could live in an SSP. Over time, those lines get blurred. But we're saying, in the world that's coming, you're going to be able to take modular pieces and build the stack per campaign.
It's almost like it's aligned with that composable trend.
Exactly.
That we see. Where you're plugging in wherever it needs to be. So whatever the the tsunami shifts in the industry that happen. If and so this leads to my question: is that his argument is that it's probably in favor of the primitive business model. Is that the closer you get to a direct relationship between publishers, the people that deliver the content, especially premium, because they have the authenticated traffic, and the brand, the better you're going to be. Right. And how that's becoming more of a reality.
Yeah. I mean, that's
in today's world. Whereas are all these middlemen in the tax.
April 2026, that's where we are.
Yeah.
The buy-side tech companies will respond. But right now it looks like they're really far from the data, the flow, and they haven't built the environments that companies like Chalice need. But I'm sure they're going to come out with their next wave of innovation. I think part of the reason
you've seen that with like the Trade Desk and so with Open Path, and like they're starting to move more towards, because they realize that's where
the action is. So we'll see more. But where we are right now, there's a little more action on the sell side, and I think it's because if you rewind 2 years ago, sell side ad tech was nowhere, and they were in big trouble. So it's that pressure.
And the pressure on the sell side, right? Because there's a lot of talk in the industry around, and I won't name the person or the company, but talk about. I was referencing the fact that I was talking to him, and I referenced the fact that we talked, and he's like, but is Chalice and other DSPs like fighting for kind of a shrinking pie of the open internet, of the open web? Right. I won't tell you who it was. You probably could guess, but no. But like, are they? Is the entire future of going to be either authenticated traffic on the premium publisher side, or just behind walled gardens, which I guess authenticated.
I think there's a lot to like about walled gardens for the brands. It's very easy to use. They're trusted. They get a lot of money, and they have great tech. But to the extent that the open web can become easy to use and drive great results, we will compete. I would say, we're talking about buy-side tech and when it's going to come back. Facebook now has a model called Andromeda that scans the creative, any creative you give them, and creates thousands of features about this creative and improves their modeling, right? The more you know about what you're actually serving, the better you can model, right? So where is the open web buy-side equivalent of that? Like, I want 1,000 features on creative for my data science team to be modeling off of. That's going to come out, right? We're going to compete with Facebook in the open web, but it takes a lot of companies, a lot of integration.
You're trying to create parity with the capabilities they're bringing to market. It's like you have to, we're in a capitalist society. You got to compete with them at the level that they're competing, and they're automating this stuff, the entire media buying process.
And they have billions of dollars to invest, and the open web investment pipeline has been a little clogged in the era of duopoly dominance.
But do you think it's hype? Do you think that the whole open web's dying? We're gonna live in a walled garden world? Do you think that that's BS, or do you think there's hope for an increasing and larger size? Let's say it could be premium, but also it could be long tail publishers.
I'm optimistic about competition. The issue is competition. I think the open web thrives largely on big advertisers and big agencies desiring an alternative to Meta and YouTube, one that's data rich and interoperable. I don't think that goes away, even if it does shrink. I think the story of shrinking is overblown. There's been a lot of issues in open web display and video that we're proving can be addressed, and you can drive great results. And when people speak too broadly. I think they should always split the enterprise and small advertiser market. Small advertisers were never big open web display buyers. And the fact that they're going away and the publishers that supported them are going away is not necessarily an important trend.
Yeah, and that's something that the Googles and the Facebooks, in terms of appealing to that long tail. And basically giving them a simple, easy way to do it themselves.
That works pretty well.
They won that a while back, but that wasn't.
They've been winning that.
They've been winning it for a long time, and I think to your point that you're still trying to attract big advertiser dollars.
Big advertisers and big publishers. We don't need so many publishers. Display publishing inventory has been infinite. And the price that goes down to 50 cents, and people will miss that market who thrived in it, but it was never very important to big advertisers and premium publishers.
And what is your perspective on speaking of infinite? Because I think you could call that because I do think it's finite versus right in terms of the amount of inventory that's available in the sort of long tail supply side of the world. I mean, do you think that the open web still has kind of a polluted, dirty inventory problem? right? This is kind of the Dr. Fu.
Let's say a pricing problem, right? There's a lot of 50-cent inventory that people still buy for the reach of to reach to IDs at that 50 cents. But that price should be zero or a penny, right? Like those impressions are worthless.
Yeah,
like
it might be one of the million recipe sites that's AI generated, right? Where it's not real human.
If that's all you see, it looks like a crash. Oh my God, the market's crashing. All this 50-cent inventory is being reset to zero. But if you're a news site and suddenly there's a scalpel ability for a big B2B advertiser, tech advertiser, to be in the news reaching engineers like they want to, then your CPM is going from 50 cents to $2 or $3 or $4. And that view doesn't get represented enough. Is like that, proper pricing is double-edged, right? Some things will go to zero and some things are underpriced right now. I promise you, we're staying massively underpriced quality inventory. And
it's the premium inventory, right? Which is authenticated. You can, if you're going direct to publisher, big publisher, that you're reaching the people that you're intending.
But it's not even all name brand publishers. There are good recipe sites that show clean video and have good layout, and they've never been rewarded for their commitment to having a well laid out page.
It sounds like you're on a mission here. This is a cause, right?
Well, my mission is for advertisers to price things appropriately. We're trying to tell publishers in this world, you can make more money, right? It doesn't have to be shrinking. Like the total inventory could shrink. That just means the money becomes more concentrated with fewer, better publishers.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you see? What do you see for like the next couple of years? At Chalice AI, like you guys have you built the company, you ran a consulting gig for a little while. Like I'm sort of in that same founder mode, so I have a ton of respect for that. You launched this organization with your wife, right? You're starting to see some real traction in the ecosystem. You built a pretty unique system that is modular, like you talked about. What do you see in the next 3 to 4 years of Chalice AI?
Well, our technology is increasingly embedded in what we think will be the most important ecosystems, places like Index, OpenX, and PubMatic, AWS, LiveRamp, a really important partner to us, and many companies that we're talking to here we see as distribution points for this really flexible, modular optimization tech, right? Paired with LiveRamp, then you have identity, optimization, conversion data, right? That's something very powerful. Paired with Index, you have rich inventory data, curation capabilities, right? A whole bunch of agency demand. And then our agency partners, right? Agencies are under tremendous pressure to adopt AI and show results. And we're showing that you don't necessarily have to fire your staff. Like another route would be driving much more value for your advertisers, right? If you drive enough value that the agency can get paid and the advertiser realizes gains, AI doesn't have to mean this massive cost cutting, right? You can get the value and the value gain that pays for the people. So we see that as a really important trend in showing the service industry that this wave of tool adoption is a chance to legitimately earn, right, on your expertise and save your jobs.
And it sounds like containerization is like, in a sense, you're building like a memory layer, like a memory system that's capturing more information, more data, more signal across the buy and the sell side that can be leveraged just for more. And at the end of the day, this should drive better outcomes, right? And measure even incrementality,
like
measurability.
Our client is Hershey. What I tell my client Vinny at Hershey is, we want to have
Vinny. We're talking to him tomorrow.
It's like we want to have, like, we know you make your money. It's it's for Skinny Pop, it's penetrating new households, and for Reese's, it's really getting the 2 a month people to 4 a month. These are super hard things to model. And we're going to have models for you that can be dropped into your walled garden environments and your CTV environments. If you want to work with LiveRamp, it'll be there. And
that allow you that level of accuracy and that level of specificity for that specific type of buyer.
And you'll be right. And you're going to be sending instructions, and you're going to be able to compare. All right, I give my instructions to all these platforms. How did they do? What was the cost to value ratio? And we're saying that's the model that we're going for in the future. Like you cannot adopt AI by going to a few different AI, feudal lords and having them all make your own models. Your model has to sit on your side where your creative sits. This is your differentiation, and it's per brand, it's per creative, it's per campaign, and you have to start thinking of
artificial intelligence. I mean, this is where
what makes it AI is it's an extension of your brand strategy, right? This is automating what the brand is trying to do. And if someone says they have an agent and it's automating something you didn't choose, well, that's not your agent. Your agent is going to do exactly what Skinny Pop needs to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're trying to build for you. And you should tell the platforms, like, you could call it AI or call it agent, but I already have models that are designed to lift sales, penetrate households, improve lifetime value, optimize my entire chocolate portfolio. Like, platforms don't do that sort of work.
Yep. Well, this was great. You heard it here first from Adam Heimlich. Thank you for joining us. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll have you on another lengthy episode, but this was great. Thanks everybody for joining us.